Baton Rouge. Of course, the coaching search had its own drama, and now we're in camp a few weeks away from the season. We head over to Baton Rouge to checking in with our good friend Brian Holland. Brian, number one, thank you so much for joining us here on the program. Of course, Lane Kiffin stole all the headlines and sucked up all the oxygen out of the room in the chase for Sam Levin and the drama to get there. And now everybody's in football mode. Everybody's putting their cleats on and the pads on and getting ready for the fall. Your observations from what you've seen now that it's substance and not all the style.
Yeah, it's definitely a different style. It's kind of funny. Like, I like to go back at this time of year and look back on teams that I've covered and just kind of go back, like, what do they say, or what did they say, in training camp and getting ready for the season? And especially when I've covered some of these coaching changes, whether it be in the Big 12 or in the SEC. Everyone is always, especially, when you get that new strength and conditioning coach, they're always like, well, it's harder this time around. Well, like, the strength and conditioning coaches don't sit there and go well, I'm just going to make these guys go harder. Like, that's not what they say. They focus on different details. So they're working a muscle usually or a muscle in a certain way that you didn't previously. It's not saying that anyone's working harder than anyone else. Everyone gets the same amount of time, NCAA, right? Wink, wink. So, it's the same with head coaches and coordinators. Like, man, they're going fast. Well, yeah, I mean, like, tempo, it has its advantages. It also has its disadvantages. If you don't execute the tempo, then you're 3 and out, and your defense is feeling it. Your defense is feeling the tempo. So, Lane Kiffin, he's going to bring the tempo. He's going to bring some other things. I thought it was interesting. I think I told you guys this one time. Like, the running backs, one of the running backs was like not complaining, but denoting that he was tired in practice, and he never gets tired in practice. Like, that's the thing with running backs, and I would say definitely wide receivers. Like, they'll complain a lot. They'll never complain about, like, I need to run another route, or I need to get another ball thrown my way, or I need some more playing. They're never going to say I need less playing time, ever.
Right.
Ever. They're never going to say they need less reps. They want to be the first guy in line. They want to go out and prove themselves. So to say that you were tired, at some portions, now that was before training camp, so they were getting ready for the tempo. So it's interesting to see everyone adjust. And it's interesting to hear a wide receiver, running back, a position group that does not usually complain about, hey, let's run more plays. They're like, I was kind of getting tired. Like, that's new for me. So I think that should say something about Lane Kiffin's attitude and the mantra that he's going to have, especially for the offense in, pushing the tempo and getting these guys to run faster. And obviously with that comes a lot of things like substitution. And we can dive into whatever you guys want, but it's been a different flavor down here in Baton Rouge, and people have felt it.
All right. Well, Gerhard's over here pointing and laughing at me. I don't know if you saw that, because I am a Tennessee alum. And so I have brought up on this show the fact that Tennessee in the offseason has gained a combined amount of 800 pounds of lean muscle mass. And I'm excited about it, okay?
Drinker of the Kool-Aid of the strength and conditioning coach.
I didn't know lean muscle mass won you football games.
But it can help.
It can help, but I didn't know 800 pounds of lean muscle can run routes.
It's something to be excited about. It won't. That's right. When you're getting hit by grown men, it's not going to hurt. It's only going to help. Right? Okay. Anyways,
no. We'll see. I
felt like that was a mic drop. You guys had nothing to say there.
Bars.
Yeah, all right, bars. Sure, whatever.
Spin bars over here. Anyways, why don't we talk about the quarterback you got there in Baton Rouge and Sam Levitt. In the first hour of this show, we broke down Josh Pate's top 10 SEC quarterbacks. Sam actually sits at number 5, right? Was he number 5? Just kind of your thoughts there. Do you feel like that's a good area for him to sit in right now?
I'm going to say something very, very unique, probably, to some of these shows. Yeah, I think that's properly rated. I have no problem with that ranking. No, I mean, I do think that there is plenty of upside when you talk about number 10 jogging over there. I mean, Lane Kiffin's going to squeeze the juice. He's going to get all of that. The problem that I see coming down the tracks for us is, like, Trinidad Chambliss is a unicorn. no one ever reacts like that, especially in a backup role. Like, who can you even compare coming in and basically not being the proclaimed, like, yes, that is our guy, still kind of going back and forth in camp last year. And then for him to jump in and look like that, like look like a Heisman contender, like who's done that? Tom Brady with Drew Bledsoe? Like,
yeah.
You know what I mean? I can't think of a lot of names. I mean, you go back to Johnny Football. He was a redshirt freshman, so he had been at A&M for a full year, I guess, and he was battling Jamil Showers, like, he comes in and lights the world on fire and goes and wins the Heisman. That's just not that's not the rule. That's the exception, or it's supposed to be the exception. So, like, everyone's holding up this ruler to Sam Leavitt. Yes, he has college football experience, but he doesn't have Lane Kiffin, LSU, SEC college football experience. I hate to be that guy to be like, oh, he hasn't played in the SEC yet. Like, it's like Lane Kiffin would say, it's just a little bit different, okay? Yeah. So it's interesting to see guys like, come here like a Jaden Daniels and a Joe Burrow, and you go, big jump isn't first year, guys. It's second year. Yep. I don't care if you've had some experience or you've been in camps, you've been at another school and another program, and you've been through the strength and conditioning and all that. Even Joe Burrow, he was fighting for the starting job at Ohio State and then got here, still needed a full year to be that dude. You know what I mean? Yeah. And guy that we call that kid Jaden, it took him a full year to actually realize who he was. So Lane Kiffin can sprinkle the fairy dust and the magic all over all these quarterbacks all he wants. Experience is still the best teacher. And, when Sam's came here and said, hey, this is a 2-year decision, I'm gearing up like I'm going to be here for 2 years. I'm one of the fools in the crowd who actually believed him, because I've seen the year one with some of these transfers and just how different it looks in year 2. So I'm pumping the brakes more than the LSU faithful here in Baton Rouge, Gabriella.
And I mean, I think I said yesterday on the show, Cam Scatterbo has more passing touchdowns in the college football playoff than Sam Leavitt does. And then the sample size against Mississippi State last year didn't really look good. Oh. Then he goes down with the injury, doesn't practice in the spring. So, that's not really a great recipe for success. However, a good recipe for success with a quarterback is a good tight end. And I think Trey'Dez Green at this point last year, people more so knew him as an ex-basketball player. Things. And now all of a sudden, 1 year later, the preseason SEC poll comes out and he's first team all SEC at the tight end position. Just how impressed have you been with his growth, and how big do you think that connection between him and Leavitt will be this year?
First off, I just got to say, Gabrielle, like we are not ganging up on you. I played tight end. No,
I actually want to hear all the great things you have to say, because we also in the first hour picked a fantasy team for college, and I picked Trey'Dez Green as my tight end. Nice. So I hope you're going to feed me some Kool-Aid here.
Very, very good pick, by the way.
Thank you.
Yeah, he we interviewed him in high school because he's from East Feliciana, a little 2A school here, about 45 minutes north of us. Then he transferred to a big 5A, like his last, was it full year or 2 years? But either way, when he was at his first high school, it was just watching a basketball player like box people out for, a ton of touchdowns. And then really even at the 5A level, he kind of did that too. He told us here in this training camp, he's like, man, we pretty much ran like 1-2 routes and they just threw it to me. I was just bigger. I mean, the dude's 6'8.5" or whatever he's going to come in at the combine. He's going to wow people when he goes to the NFL, when he gets to Indianapolis. He really is. He looks like a freak of nature. He is a freak of nature. And if there's anyone who can unlock that, I mean, Lane Kiffin is definitely on the short list, if not number 1, 2, or 3. So we're all expecting a big year from Trey'Dez. He's always had that potential. It feels like everything's added up to like this build up, and he's going to get it done. So I like your pick.
Thank you.
We were not getting up on. I will say, like Scott Van Pelt always yells halfway through the highlight, tight end's always open. I yell that as well. I mean, that is true. True to this guy. You want to talk about the tight end position?
Yeah.
Like, let's go.
Right.
I gotta love it. Gotta love it. He might be always open in that opener. Obviously, it's a huge one there against Clemson. This time last year, I remember we spoke with Chester Boucher, who was covering the game for you guys. It felt like winner had the inside track to the college football playoff. Loser probably could still get in, but maybe having to do some work in the regular season to get back in it. I don't know if it's watered down. You tell me the temperature there about the season opener, because it does feel like, given all the hype last year, this year there is a lot of hype with Lane Kiffin. Gauge the temperature about where this game is specifically against Clemson and where they finished at the end of last season.
I think it was a lesson in that, especially in the playoff structure that we have now, and the environment, the setup for the playoffs. It's not going to mean as much. It almost kind of feels like when I was coming back here to Baton Rouge, like, the standard was that Oregon game. And Tyrann Mathieu, Honey Badger, ripping the ball away and, showing the other conferences what the SEC and Southeastern Conference football is truly like. There's just not as much on the line as there used to be. Even, kind of the conference pride. Now that we've conglomerated like all of these programs and done so much of this, restructuring, it doesn't have the same feel going into it. But I know that obviously, LSU and the faithful here, they're always I don't want to sell it like it's Ole Miss, and that like Ole Miss is like, well, we may lose the game, but we'll never lose the tailgate. LSU has to win the game. Like, the expectation is we have to win the game.
Brian.
And we have to win the tail. But also we have to, like, we're at a destination tailgate spot. They want to show Clemson who the real Death Valley is. That was like this, I don't want to say dumb, but it was a conversation piece last year. Like, they're not the real Death Valley, and when they come here, we're going to show
that on the show.
There's going to be a little bit of just local pride for sure. I mean, this is what we have. Yeah. You know what I mean? This is when you talk about, I used to talk about the survival of the town. Football, Friday Night Lights, they talk about that in the movie, Protect This Town. That's truly what it feels like. I've covered a ton of those schools. That's what that feels like. On a Saturday in the fall, it is show people what this is like. Yeah. You know what I mean? Give them the ultimate experience before the game, during the game, after the game. And so, like, yes, like the game will be, of course, the spotlight. But, I mean, from the band to the food and everything in between, Baton Rouge, I'm sure, is itching to show out.